Welcome back, another episode of On the Streets. 1, little 2, little 3, little Cucks. The first guy up you're going to recognize, he's come around from time to time over the past few years. And this is probably one of the most constructive talks I've had with him. And hopefully I've been able to break through that veneer of stupidity that a lot of liberals seem to have. And then the second young lady, who was rather nice, willing to talk and discuss, and also, I think, probing and trying to find out why, what she views as the opposition, how we think. And of course, the video would not be complete without having a hysterical liberal at the end, which I think you'll rather enjoy. If you like what I'm doing out there, trying to reach people and have meaningful conversations and showing up the idiots for being the idiots, then please do hit that like button. And something else that's very important. YouTube, of course, is coming out with more and more heavier censorship. There's only one way we can meaningfully combat that. You need to overcome their censorship by taking these videos and sharing them on your platforms. It makes it harder for them to censor and gets our message out. This is so you're part of the army here. I cannot do this alone. My videos just being out there, if they're going to make it harder for the people to find my videos or outright censor them, then it's just, that's where we need you. I need your help. So please do share these videos if you like them. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. If you are already a subscriber, the same thing. They will knock off of subscribers arbitrarily and keep my subscriptions down, so you have to resubscribe. And of utmost important, I do need the support. And along this video, you're going to see several people that come up, they take photos and do not leave a tip or contribution. I do not get the necessary support I need to sustain this, being out there on the street. So that's where you guys come in. If you would sign up at my PayPal account, if you're a regular viewer, $5 a month if you can afford it, more if you can afford it. Or if I really like it, when you go get one of my designs. My designs do come with a trigger back guarantee. And people seem to enjoy them. So if you can go to my store, Threadless, and get yourself a sweatshirt, t-shirt, cell phone cover, or mug, it would be appreciated. So with that done, without further ado, let's get into this video. And remember, this is a spiritual battle. We are fighting on a material plane. So please give me the materials I need to fight this battle. God bless you. Here we go. On the streets.
Well, you weather it pretty well.
Well, it's actually not hard. I do because they're easy. They're so easy.
I see.
I mean, they're so easy.
Okay, well.
Have you got an answer for that?
Why
yet?
Democrats fragile? Well, I don't think they do. I mean, I don't think they do.
I don't know. I've been finding all day that today they do. I mean,
well, I guess.
I mean, they keep on defending the. Well, they're here to have a better life, and they're Well, most of them come over with visas, and that it still makes them illegal.
But that's based on that if America is caring more for legal immigrants than for Americans, that just assumes that it's zero sum. If you give money and aid to legal immigrants or to immigrants, illegal immigrants or legal immigrants, that means you're not giving money to poor or Americans. And I think the world should be that there should be money and resources available for both. So I don't see it as a zero-sum game.
But
let me ask you a question.
Shouldn't you take care of your own people first?
Sure. Well, I think.
I mean, if you have a family, should you take care of your family first before you?
But that's not a.
Well, if you like, if we're using an analogy,
it's not an analogy. It's not a valid analogy. It's not a valid analogy. I know what an analogy is. That's not a valid analogy.
Shouldn't you take care of your own citizens first before you take care of non-citizens?
Yeah, we should do better at that too.
Yeah.
But you ask always questions. Let me ask you a question, because I just read in the New York Times. You see, before this election, before the election, Julian Assange and WikiLeaks were traitors.
Traitors?
I mean, people wanted to lock them up. They were traitors. They were giving national secrets.
Why were
and
they
everything.
traitors?
They were giving national secrets and everything. They wanted to lock up WikiLeaks. They wanted to lock up Julian Assange. They considered him a traitor, and even the Republicans particularly wanted to lock up Julian Assange and WikiLeaks as being traitors to the United States, giving out secrets.
I've never considered him a traitor because I considered him a man who was exposing things that needed to be exposed.
Maybe you didn't. But a great deal
no
of
one's
the
ever
Republicans
accused him of ever showing anything that was false. That's for sure.
Well, they've accused him of being a traitor, and the Russians certainly have been accused in the past of being our enemies. So I'm just curious, how do you read the fact that the New York Times says that there are 100 documented cases of correspondence and activity and movement back and forth between the Trump's campaign and both the Russians and Julian Assange.
Yeah, well, then can I ask you this question? Being that Julian Assange is at the epicenter here that we're talking about.
What do you think?
Well, that's why I want to ask. This pertains to the question.
Let's say Julian Assange doesn't work. Let's say
this pertains to the question.
And just the Russians. And
this pertains to the question.
What's the question? Okay, go ahead.
This pertains to the whole Russian collusion.
Right. Okay.
Let's go Mueller investigation.
Sure.
Why hasn't Mueller questioned Assange?
I think they probably will at some point. I mean,
why hasn't he at all?
Doesn't he have to be extradited? He's not
I think
reachable.
it would be pretty damn easy to do.
How would they do that? He's still in the Ecuadorian.
The request.
He's still in the Ecuadorian embassy.
Yeah, but all he has to do is make the request. I don't think they'd refuse him to do that.
They might just do that.
Well, why haven't they already? And he's at the epicenter.
Up to last week.
I mean, all you have to do is ask him.
I think it's
who did you get that information?
I think it's a step-by-step thing.
It's been 2 years. What the hell are they waiting on?
It took them 2 years to get Roger Stone.
For what?
We'll find out.
What do you mean for what? The charges are nothing to do with Russian collusion.
No,
it's all about.
He doesn't. Right. For him, I guess they're not pushing Russian collusion. But anyway,
why would they use the heavy-handed tactics? Nobody likes the heavy-handed tactics. Why did they use those Gestapo tactics on Stone?
I think it was probably a mistake to do that. I agree with you. It's probably a mistake to do that. Except for the one thing is, they probably also wanted to get his laptop. They also wanted to get all the paperwork that he has.
Time. He's been cooperative all along.
You're probably right.
I mean, he has never refused a request for any interview.
You're probably right. Yeah. They might have gotten what they wanted.
So why be that thuggish?
I don't know. It's probably a mistake.
Okay, one of many.
It's probably a mistake. But answer my question. Let's cut out the Assange and the WikiLeaks part and say if there were 50, half of them between the Russians and the Trump campaign, wouldn't that indicate that there would be something amiss?
Well, they've all been exposed. I mean,
they haven't been exposed at all. What the 50?
Assange hasn't hidden anything. Released them all.
I'm removing Assange from it. I'm just saying, if there was half of that, if half of that is with the Russians, then wouldn't that be something to be concerned about?
Look. Even with Trump Jr., right? Remember, that alleged or that meeting they had.
They were talking about the
meeting they had. Remember the meeting they had with the it was supposed to be they were going to give exposure.
They were talking about the refugees. They were talking about.
It was a 20-minute meeting they had, a 21-minute meeting, right? He's been interviewed for over 20 hours, like it's 24 hours.
Yeah.
They've questioned him about that 21-minute meeting.
Sure.
Why? What, 24 hours for a 21-minute meeting?
I don't know why. I don't know why.
Why would they keep on grilling him like that?
They must have a reason, right? I don't know why, but they must have a reason, and they keep going back
to try to maybe catch him in a.
But you think it might not be against about adoptions, what they're claiming it was initially. First of all, they were claiming that it never happened. Then they were claiming
originally they said
it was adoption.
Originally they said it was going to be about we got something on Hillary.
Adoptions.
So then it came into the adoption thing.
It was nothing about adoptions. Yeah. It was supposed to be about bad news, dirty tricks on
what's
Hillary.
Wrong with that?
Well, what's wrong with
What's wrong with if someone says I got some bad stuff on Hillary, you're running against her? What would be wrong with you going, well, I'm running against her, what you got? What's wrong with hearing that?
Because well, to me that's collusion.
Don't you guys call it collusion? Don't you guys call it opposition research?
I call it being in bed with the Russians. That's what
How's it being in bed with Russians? If I'm running against somebody, and you come up and say, I got some... Wait. If I'm running against somebody, and you call me up and say, I got some dirt on the guy you're running against, and I meet with you, and I go, well, what do you got?
And we meet with the communist government. We meet with the communist government.
There was no communist government there. Matter of fact, as a matter of fact, the woman...
tied to the communist party.
Whoa.
She later showed up at NRA. She later turned up for the NRA conference.
She had connections with the Clintons. She had connections with the Clintons.
So there was nothing wrong with meeting with the Russians. There was nothing wrong with meeting with the Russians.
No.
There's nothing wrong with meeting with the Russians.
No.
And then when Trump sent everybody out of the room and he and Putin were together,
so
there's nothing wrong with that.
Why shouldn't two leaders be able to talk in private?
Let me ask you a question. If Hillary Clinton had done the same thing, we were looking for her emails,
what
right?
About her selling her 20% of our uranium? You're happy with that?
Let me ask you a question. If something was wrong with that, Trump, for 2 years, despite all the calls of lock her up, all the rest of that stuff, for 2 years, he had the House, he had the Senate, he had the FBI. He was the one that nominated everybody in the FBI, and he was the president. Why didn't they find those 30,000? Why didn't they lock her up? Why didn't they lock her up?
You're assuming.
Why didn't they lock her up?
What you are assuming is that the deep state doesn't penetrate both parties, doesn't penetrate the FBI, the CIA.
He the president. He is the president.
Yes, one man.
Okay.
But the deep state is deep for a reason. They call it deep state.
He had the Congress, he had the House,
You're
he had the Senate.
assuming that those people are not corrupt.
Then why didn't
you're
he?
Assuming that,
if that's
you're
true,
assuming that, our government is eyeball deep in corruption.
Well, why didn't he nominate and put in people in place that were not corrupt? Why would he?
Try to find them. He's trying to find them.
So everybody other than he is corrupt?
And
his son, and his son-in-law.
There are
everybody
a lot
else is
of people in our government that are completely corrupt. Yes.
He couldn't find 3 people? He couldn't find 3 people that were not corrupt? He couldn't find somebody in the Senate? He couldn't find somebody in the House?
I have spoken to enough people out here in the FBI, in the services, that would tell me I spoke to a policeman out here the day who guarded for Hillary Clinton.
Okay, yeah, I know.
And
he couldn't have found. Come on.
And he told me, he says, and we spoke about the corruption in the industry, you know, in the services. I says, well, was there corruption in your police department? He says, yeah. He says, but it's at the top. And he says, where do you go as a guy, as a policeman, a man on the street?
Yeah, but he was the man that could have. He's the man that could have overlooked all the people who were corrupt and say, "I want you to be the head. I want you to be the head of the FBI." Sure, I want you to be the head of the FBI.
Well, you listen to me for a second. And the policeman says, "Look, what? You're a cop." I says, "You saw the corruption. What do you do?" It's just, well, what do you do about it when you're a man? When you're the cop, but all your bosses are corrupt? Who do you go to?
They could have chosen somebody that wasn't corrupt.
Who's they? Who's they?
Trump could have chosen somebody that's not corrupt.
And who does he ask and who does he go to? And how do you know the advice you're getting isn't from somebody in the deep state? You understand the deep state is complete. Okay. 9 out of 10 of them are corrupt.
As long as you keep insisting, as you do, that the deep state is the one that has all this control.
They do.
That somebody who is the President of the United States, who has the Congress on his side, who gets to nominate.
You're assuming the Congress is not on his side. The Congress is not on his side.
Well, no, they're not, because he couldn't even get the Republicans to vote for his wall.
Again, because the Republicans are, just because the Republicans doesn't mean they're saints. They're corrupt too. They are We can always say the bugaboo is the deep state.
Who's leading the deep state? Who do you know that's in the deep state? Who's a deep stater?
There's a bunch, most of them.
Who's the primary deep stater?
All right.
Who?
If I may.
You may. Go ahead. You're invited.
This is
who's the primary deep stater?
If you would like,
you're invited.
If you would like to, and if you can read books.
I can read books. Okay.
I got a few books for you.
Excuse my ignorance.
I'm trying to. I would like to give you some things that would help you understand this.
Okay. Don't make it
the one that turned me on in 1972. The book, it's very simple to read. It's only a
I should be able to handle it then.
Yeah, it's very easy. It's a very thin book. It's called None Dare Call It Conspiracy.
None Dare Call It Conspiracy. Okay.
It should be easy to find a copy of it.
I should probably get it on the internet.
Should be easy enough.
None Dare Call It Conspiracy.
None Dare Call It Conspiracy.
And who's the author?
Allen. I think it's Richard Allen, if I'm not mistaken. Allen.
So what's he doing?
I can't.
Who's Allen? What is he doing?
Please.
But if he's going to expose all of this stuff, we should have some sense of who the fuck he is, right?
If I may. All right.
Okay.
The Bible of it all is Carroll Quigley's book, and Carroll Quigley is Bill Clinton's mentor. He was Professor Carroll Quigley. He was allowed in the Illuminati library for 2.5 years to roam and read their archives. Quigley. It's called Tragedy and Hope. Tragedy and Hope.
It's
a 1,500-page book. It's the Illuminati Bible, going just step by step how they take it on. Now, there are groups. Now, you can remember a lot of this is being run by secret societies. I'll tell you, it was Kennedy, and they blew his head off 2 weeks after he made this speech. It's called The Speech That Got Kennedy Killed. In the speech, I got it back here, if you want to listen to it. And in there, he names it. He calls it the shadow government.
Who does? Kennedy does?
President Kennedy. In the speech, he goes, there is a shadow government bigger than all other governments. They have their own army. They have their own way of doing things. The deeds that they do are never exposed. Their wrongs are never published. They are the ones that control and run most of all that we see and hear.
Okay.
So he named the shadow government. They blew his head off 2 weeks later.
Do we have a name? Do we have names?
Yes.
In the shadow
Yes,
government?
we do. We know who they are. You ever heard of the Bilderberg Group? The Bilderberg Group.
Yes. I've heard the Bilderberg Group. Yes, I have. I've heard.
They meet once a year for 4 days out of the year, and every 4 years they meet in North America. They are the top 120-odd movers and shakers in the Western world.
Okay.
They meet behind closed doors.
I'm sure they have a lot of power.
Ooh, they meet behind closed doors. Even all the major, like owners of networks are in, but they never report on what they talk about. Okay.
Right.
So these people are the ones that control everything. I mean, these are the IBMs, and they write all of them.
There's a lot of power there.
Yeah. Of course, then we have the G20. We have all. They're, the Pilgrim Society. These are the secret and semi-secret societies that basically are the same families and the same bloodlines that interchangeable in these clubs that rule behind the scenes. These are the real leaders. These are the ones that corrupt our politicians and all. I'll tell you one that'll bring up.
I don't think it is.
I'll tell you one up to bring up the speed real quick. It's a documentary, and you can watch this on YouTube. Okay, watch us between now and the next time we see and we'll talk.
Okay.
Thrive, THRIVE, Thrive. Okay. Easy to remember.
Okay.
You're familiar with Procter & Gamble?
Yes.
Of course. Foster Gamble, heir to that vast fortune, groomed to be a top 0.00001%, has an epiphany. And he goes, I am surrounded by insane psychopaths. And he breaks from the elitist agenda. He makes this documentary called Thrive. Now, in there, he exposes at the very beginning secrets that the elites have been hiding from us for over 100 years.
I agree. Yeah.
Things like free energy suppression, how they control the money. And he breaks down very simply how a small group of uber elites, through blackmail, coercion, murder, bribery, control everything, and ownership of the different corporations and the media conglomerates, and how they control the information, how they bribe, how they control the governments. And he shows very simply all down to, to how it all works out.
I think that's basically.
So it's a wonderful documentary to watch to show who's really running things.
I'll check it out.
But what I like about this documentary is he just doesn't show how they rule, and what's wrong. He shows how we can go ahead and get our individual power back from them. So he shows us solutions to it, how we can do it. Take a look at that documentary. Come back and talk to me.
All right. Okay.
And then I think we can have a better discussion on how...
I don't disagree with you when you say that there are global elites.
Yes.
And that there are people that control a big part of our economy, a big part of our life. That's true. That's true. I think that's true.
All of this other stuff that we normally start talking about and get into is just basically like storefront bullshit. It's what they want us arguing about because it's really the bottom level of this corrupt system. I start there to get people up to understanding and seeing who's really ruling this and who's really working with us.
But don't you think that if there's all that money that's controlling everybody, and I believe that there is, why wouldn't we have passed the tax bill that we passed that further benefited those elites?
Well, it didn't. It actually gave us, you understand in one instance, as much power as they have, they are not still fully in control. We still have a great voice, us, we, the people. We still have the ability, because if only a small...
Was this Trump then? Do you see Trump as part of that voice?
Oh, yes.
That's the question. Do you see Trump as part of that voice?
Absolutely.
You do?
Yes, absolutely I do. Because he's... I mean, I've talked to people that have worked with him.
I've talked with people that have gone to his parties and that have met him and I've read a bit about him, and everything makes me think.
Yeah, there's the good, the bad, the ugly, I understand. But the ones I've spoken to have done actually, work with them.
Not the ones that he's gone bankrupt on. The six times he's gone bankrupt.
Let me give you an example. I talked to a guy out here who works one of his crews at one of his golf courses, does landscaping, right? And I asked him, well, how is he going to work with? This is a Cuban guy, too, right? He goes, I tell you, one day he came out, he went around, he talked to my entire crew. And he came up to me, and he says, you're doing a great job. Took out a wad of money, he put it in my hand, he says, share that with the men. Mm-hmm. So he goes around, I've talked to other, like, 2 Secret Service guys I spoke to that guard him. I says, who should guard her, too. Mm-hmm. I says, well, what was the difference? He says, the difference was she, at the best, tolerated us, at the best. The first day that he came in, he called us all into the office individually, sat us down and says, you have any problems, let me know about them, because I want to be able to help you fix them so you're concentrating on your job. Mm-hmm. He knows our names, he greets us like individuals, he talks to us like we're thank you, sir.
What do you think?
I think it's a piece of shit. He talks to us like we're men. He asks us if we need anything.
That's great.
So I asked the first guy that put the pipes in his first building, his build. I asked him, well, how did he deal with you? Brought me into a room. He sat me down. He said, how much? I gave him a price. He says, you knock $200,000 off of that price, and I'll wind up giving you more business and more buildings I do in the future. You just tell them I use mine, and you'll get. I said, did that work out? And he said, it worked out like a charm. So the people I've spoken to that have been in a room with that man, that have done business with him, that work for him, people that have worked at his, I talked to other people who work at his hotels. I talked to one lady, little old lady, she was great. She was at one of his casinos, and says she saw Trump coming down with his entourage, right? Partying, having fun, dancing. He sits down next to her at the blackjack table. Mm-hmm. Starts talking to her. He says, how you doing? He said, how you doing? She says, well, I'll tell you the truth, I'm staying over at the Hilton because they give me more points or chips or whatever the hell, and he got
the comps.
More comps.
Yeah.
She goes home. He had his one of his proteges take her. Goes home. She's got 4-day stay, Trump Tower, all the perks. The guy treats people. Everybody spoke to. He treats people like humans.
Yeah, I've heard other descriptions of how he treats people.
Yeah, if you treat him like shit, he'll crush you like a bug.
Well,
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
So if you don't do the job for him, he will screw you over. So, but if you treat him fairly, he treats you fairly.
Yeah, I just heard about the people the fact that he went bankrupt 6 times, and the fact that they lost money, and that their business. Well, think how many businesses had? I've gone bankrupt for crying out loud. Anybody that's got a lot of businesses is going to have a few of them go bankrupt. You do that a lot of times for tax purposes too. Right.
I mean, that's just part of doing business.
Sure, but everybody else losing in the meantime.
Well, I mean, some people win, some people lose. He hasn't won at everything he's done.
So thrive, right?
Thrive. Highly recommend it.
Okay. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. I'm glad you didn't say check out InfoWars. Thrive, I'll take a look at.
Why wouldn't you check out InfoWars?
Well, I did from time to time. Or I do from time to time.
I mean, you see, my rule of thumb is I like to listen to the people they try to silence. And they're trying to silence InfoWars, so I listen to them. Why would they try to silence them? Why shouldn't everybody be allowed free speech? Shouldn't it be allowed us individuals to decide whether we want to listen to somebody or not?
I think that silencing him has more to do with alerting people about who he is and the information that he disseminates.
I'm sorry. Why should you allow somebody else to decide what you should be alerted to?
I'm just saying that they are informing other people.
Why don't you inform yourself? What do you need to them to tell you for? Why don't you inform yourself?
I'm not telling them to tell me. I'm saying that it should be known what his record is in the past.
Why don't you judge for yourself? Why are you relying on other people to...
I've listened to him.
Yeah, but why don't you then judge? Why would you rely on somebody else to tell you what?
I do. I judge it for myself. I've listened to him.
And then here's the other thing that tyrants don't get. Anytime you try to, it's a Streisand effect. When you try to,
Streisand effect.
Yeah, Streisand effect is like when you tell someone not to do something, they go ahead and do it.
Okay.
So when liberals try to tell someone, or whomever tries to tell somebody, don't listen to them, well, people are going to go, well, fuck that, I'm going to go listen to them.
That's the Streisand effect.
So it has the opposite effect of what you try to do, and that's something that tyrants never understand. When you try to repress somebody, it actually draws people to them. So tyrants don't, for some reason, can't grasp that. So when you go around trying to tell all the people what they can and cannot do, which in the sense, in itself, you should never, ever tell somebody, don't go listen to that person. Judge for yourself whether you should listen to that person.
Right. I didn't say don't go listen to somebody, but I said be aware of this is what the guy has said in the past.
Yeah, but they just don't say that. They actually go out of their way to try to silence him. That's a big difference. There's one thing, don't listen to that guy, he's an idiot.
Correct.
That's one thing. But it's another thing to go ahead and try to cut off the guy's means of communication so you can't listen to him. That's a whole nother vitamin.
No, I agree with you.
Well, then why are they doing that?
Well, I suppose in that case they're making a mistake. That they should just say, hey, this guy's a piece of shit, don't listen to him.
Yeah, well, that's not what they're doing. What they're doing is they're cutting off the means of communication.
What do you mean? They won't let him speak in colleges and
No. I mean, they've cut off them using PayPal. They cut him off from Facebook. They cut him off of Twitter. They've cut off his means of being able to make a living.
Yeah, I guess. Well, they don't want to be associated with him and his brand of communication, his brand of bullshit.
But why not allow the free market? Why not allow us to decide? Why are you cutting me off from being able to go ahead and do what I do?
Like the people he's accused of being crisis actors and the fact that
there are crisis actors.
There are crisis actors, that's correct. But the children and the shooting were not crisis actors. Come on. The ping pong pizza was not a Hillary Clinton sex ring.
Hoax. I'll tell you right now, Sandy Hook was a complete hoax.
I think you're crazy. I think that
I can prove it.
That Sandy Hook was a complete.
Yes.
See that's.
I don't even think anybody was killed. I'll give you that. Tell you what.
That's it.
I'm going to tell you what. The school was closed for 4 years. There was no internet service for 4 years into it.
Oh, so they were shot and there was no schooling?
There was nobody killed there.
There was nobody in the school and the shoot-up never occurred?
No.
Nobody ever...
No.
The shoot-up never occurred?
No. Let me give you this. They said it was a brand new school with a security system, right? Okay, let me ask you this. Have we seen one picture of Adam Lanza breaking into that school?
Have seen?
Did we see one picture of Adam Lanza breaking into that school? If they had all those security cameras, did we see one picture of him breaking into that school?
I didn't see it.
Of course, we never seen it. It didn't exist. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. We didn't see one picture of him breaking into school. What about the guy they found running behind, in the woods behind, right afterwards, in camouflage outfit? You can see the helicopter, them catching this guy, right, in camouflage outfit. They brought out saying, I didn't do it, it wasn't me, I don't want to write. Where'd he go? What happened to him? What of the fact that you can watch again from the helicopter footage of the supposed people that, were there, were in that firehouse? They're just walking around in circles. They're walking in this side of the firehouse and then this side. And we don't see any casualties. You don't see all where they had it laid out where the casualties supposed to be. There are no casualties.
You wanted to see pictures of dead kids.
But where were they?
You wanted to see pictures.
Where were they?
You would have been satisfied seeing pictures of dead kids.
And then Noah Posen, right?
Noah Posen?
Yeah, the kid, the famous kid, the one that was publicized, Noah Posen. He was killed twice.
No, come on.
He was killed twice. He was the same kid that was allegedly also got killed in a shooting, the shooting in, what was it, in somewhere in Africa or Egypt. Yeah, his picture showed up at a school, another school shooting.
That would have been inconvenient.
Yeah, why? He got killed twice, huh?
Drive, huh?
Drive.
Obviously, listen.
No, more. Okay, go.
Hello. If you'd like to leave anything in the Bulletproof Vest Fund, it'd be appreciated.
Bulletproof Vest. Wait, let me get her in there.
Actually, I want one with both. Did he come?
Do both? Okay.
Yeah, both together.
Oh, all three. Okay.
We're helping her out and take a picture for her.
Okay.
Thank you so
There you
much.
go. You're welcome.
Why do you like Trump?
Awesome.
Say what?
Awesome.
Why wouldn't I?
Okay. He's not doing very good things.
Well, why? What good things is he not doing?
He's literally fooling the country.
He's what?
He's fooling the country.
Fooling the country. He's put people back to work.
Yeah.
He's brought industries back in so people can get work.
Yeah.
He's cut people's taxes.
Yeah, but whose taxes though? Not the poor people's taxes.
Oh no, the people I speak to, the teachers that are getting $140 more in their paycheck, the people I've spoken to that are now back at work and all over the country. Those people, the people, working people that I've spoken to out here that I've gotten testimony from that you can see on my internet, on my YouTube channel.
I got you.
Regular people. So, those people I've spoken to out here, regular people that have been
I don't
helped.
really care much about Hillary. I think she shouldn't have been the president. I mean, she's not fit. But, he's not good either. I support Bernie.
The socialist.
Yes.
The guy that's driving around in a $140,000 car that owns 3 houses that says, we should cut our carbon. That's socialist.
But what about him, hobnobbing with Russia and things like that? That's
What Russia? What was he doing with Russia?
He was meeting Russian, diplomats and stuff.
It's his job. He's a president. Why shouldn't he meet with Russia?
That's not. I'm not talking about after he became the president. Of course, he has to meet people as the head of state for America. But before that, when they're meddling in the elections and stuff, he was in touch with them, which is not right. Which is not right. Another country.
Doing what? But doing what? He was trying to build a hotel there.
No, he was basically, they were actually doing the fake news thing against Hillary on social media.
Where's the proof of that?
That's why so many people are going to jail, like Roger Stone has been arrested.
Roger Stone is being arrested on process crimes that weren't even crimes. In other words, it's like well, when did you meet with that person? Well, I think it was a Tuesday. No, it was a Wednesday. You're under arrest. So these are process crimes. And getting information from WikiLeaks is not a crime. If that was a crime, we'd have to throw, I don't know, 1,000 journalists in jail.
You have to hold somebody who's going to be standing for office to really high standards. You know, it's not you and me. Oh, I forgot. Like, what was I doing on a fine?
Wait. If that were true, then why isn't she in jail for selling 20% of our uranium to the Russians? In Uranium One. Why? She sold 20% of our uranium to the Russians and gained $145 million personally into the Clinton Foundation for that. Why isn't she in jail for that?
Oh, she should. I mean, she should be.
Then why is this double standard? If you're bringing up these standards, why isn't she in jail?
Both of them.
Because she didn't do anything wrong.
I beg your pardon?
You heard me. Or else she would have been indicted like all of the people in his campaign already.
Oh, I see. So,
or have already pled guilty. That's why she's not. Oh yeah, I'll shut you down like.
Well, then come on, shut me down.
You know what?
Shut me down. Shut me down.
I mean, I don't like him either, but you have to talk to him.
You can't talk to these people.
You can't talk to these people. You can't talk to these people.
And look, so they're going to make fun of homosexuals. That's.
I'm making fun of you.
That's your type of people. That's your type of people. You're fucking haters. You're disgusting, despicable.
You're the one that came up to me with an attitude, pal.
Yes, you are. You're despicable, disgusting, fucking scumbag.
Have a good day. Have a good day. I enjoyed.
This out
It's
here.
interesting.